Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're really excited to do this presentation for you. I'm Jonah Scott.
I'm Max Kline. We are the co-founders and co-executive directors of Rhythmic Mind. And yeah, we're super excited to do this workshop today and to be partnering with the Trauma Research Foundation on this and on this entire series around hip hop therapy and the therapeutic applications of hip hop. Before we jump into things, we just want to give you a little bit of background around who we are and how we came to this work and kind of our approach to doing this work, as well as lay down some of the foundations for the model that this workshop is based around today, so you have a little bit of understanding before we jump into the exercises.
So for me, my engagement with hip hop music and culture started at a very young age. I started writing raps when I was about 9 years old. And a couple years after that, I got into beat making to have beats to rap to. And from that point on, hip hop has just been a very integral core part of my life and experience, and brought a tremendous amount of value and enrichment into my life. Community connection, all kinds of valuable resources. And really, especially looking back, I see how much of a incredibly powerful and deep therapeutic resource it's been. Really helped me through some very, very dark and challenging times. So yeah, it's really always been a core part of my heart. I am an undergraduate, had a focus on peace and conflict studies with a specific focus on creativity and health, and how this connection can be used in things like violence prevention. So that kind of laid some of the foundation of my later professional work that I now do with Rhythmic Mind. I then went to grad school for counseling psychology, and it was at grad school that I met Max. We met through a mutual love of hip hop. That was our initial connection. And while doing some research for a paper on creativity and health in working with youth, I came across some individuals and organizations that were intentionally using hip hop as a direct therapeutic resource, doing hip hop therapy essentially. And I hadn't fully connected those dots before. And when I found out about this, it was a huge light bulb moment for me. Just an incredible aha moment that I could take this phenomenon that had given me so much value and enrichment, and I could then use that to be of benefit and of service to others, and in particular, youth really going through challenge and struggle. That's a huge driving motivation for me. So yeah, it became very clear that this is the path I was going to be walking from that point on. And in further talking with Max, he had very similar ideas and interests, and so we combined those forces together and started to lay the foundations of what is now Rhythmic Mind. After graduating, I worked for many years as a mental health clinician in a more kind of traditional sense at continuation high schools in Oakland, California, with a lot of system-involved youth in Oakland. Went on to obtain my AMFT license. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And all of that work really utilized hip-hop. I really utilized hip-hop as a therapeutic resource and kind of building the foundation, the curriculums that we now use as Rhythmic Mind. And we've been honored, blessed to be able to do this work full time for the last few years.
Yes, sir. And for me, hip hop has always been my first love and passion for as long as I can remember, really. And I discovered it when I was about 11 or 12 years old. And growing up mixed race, for me, that was something that I always felt a little bit out of place and didn't really feel like I belonged anywhere, being half Latino and half Jewish. And hip hop really kind of was a home for me, literally. Like when I discovered it, really felt like home. And it's given me so much in my life. It's literally saved my life on several occasions. So I owe really my life to it. That's why I've chosen to dedicate my life to it, doing this work. And I first began to freestyle. For those of you who don't know what that means, we'll get into that a little bit later for the workshop today. But when I was about 11 or 12, I began to freestyle. That gave me a lot of confidence, built a lot of resilience, kind of tapped me into my potential that I didn't even know was there. And then a little bit later into my teens is when I started to write rhymes a little more seriously and record music. And then fast forward a few years later, I moved to the Bay Area to pursue music and also study sound arts to learn the technical aspects of the craft so that I could really push it as far as I could go. And I got super into the underground hip hop Bay Area scene here. And I met up with some really amazing artists and became part of different crews. And I was affiliated with different hip hop collectives and was a very integral part of, huge part of my life I rocked a bunch of shows, opened up for some fairly big names in the underground hip hop scene here in the Bay Area, and even released an EP at one point, which was pretty well received as well. So I definitely made my stake as an MC and producer, and that was just my whole life. I was also super passionate about working with youth. So a few years later, I started working with an organization called The Beat Within, leading poetry and creative writing workshops in juvenile halls. And that's where things really came together for me, and I really found my path. I felt like I was fulfilling my purpose on the planet doing that work, especially when I brought hip hop into those workshops and saw just how much the kids lit up and got super, super engaged. And I really saw the power that this had in that context. And that's what made me want to study psychology and to really help this population as much as I could. So that's when I went to JFK, John F. Kennedy University, to study clinical psychology. That's where I met Jonah. And we began developing the foundations of what would later become Rhythmic Mind. After graduating, I worked for many years as a therapist, mental health clinician with at-risk, or as we term at-promise youth, at many different nonprofits and schools throughout the Bay Area. I also provided trainings to hundreds of parents and faculty in the areas of trauma, suicide prevention, and mindfulness. And all the while, we were continuing to refine and develop our models and curriculums, which would later become these official hip-hop therapy models of Rhythmic Mind.
All right, so before we go any further, we want to just do a quick experiential break, get some energy moving, get some rhythmic regulation, which we'll break down. If you've been attending these workshops, you've already become familiar with that concept of rhythmic regulation, one of the cornerstones of hip-hop therapy, therapeutic use of hip-hop. But this is going to be a little call and response exercise. It's something that's a pretty deeply rooted tradition in like hip hop performance. If you've ever been to a hip hop show, you've probably seen or participated in something like this. So we have a couple of our staff artists with us here today, Deontay and Nelson. What's up, y'all? Thank you for joining us. Blessed to have y'all here. With us. So we're gonna, Max and I are gonna say hip, and they're gonna respond back with pop. And then we're going to say hip, and they're going to respond back with hop. There might be a little bit of latency from the Zoom, the digital, but we'll work around that. And so watching this at home, feel free to participate with them on the hop side. So when we say hip, you guys can out loud say hop, maybe scare your kids. But yeah, the purpose of this is just to get the energy moving, engaged, and again, to get some really going. So I'll just do a quick countdown to 3, and we'll start. So 1, hip.
Hop.
Hip.
Hop.
Hip.
Hop.
Hip.
Hop.
All right.
Word. That latency wasn't too bad.
No.
Hopefully y'all at home, we're able to participate in that as well. Feel a little bit of that rhythmic regulation, which we're going to get into. And also really, we want to encourage you to really pay attention to how you feel. Notice how it impacts you, that little bit of, rhythm. And throughout the whole workshop, just pay attention to how you feel as we continue to go through everything. So before we get into the actual exercises, we just want to share a little bit about our organization and our work and kind of our approach to the work. So we are, as we said, Rhythmic Mind. We are a hip hop therapy organization based in the San Francisco Bay Area. And we've done programs now at many different schools, after school programs, treatment centers, and juvenile justice facilities across the Bay Area. We also provide trainings to mental health agencies, educators, and youth service providers on our different hip hop therapy models, both locally and around the Bay Area, as well as at different countries all around the world. And most recently, we just finished a certification training in our Freestyle therapy Cypher model for some really amazing hip hop activist organizers in Salvador Bahia, Brazil. And we're super, super excited to see what they do with this model in their own communities and the impact that's going to have. And that's actually the model. The Freestyle therapy Cypher model is the model that this workshop today is based around.
Yeah, so the Freestyle therapy Cypher is, in a nutshell, the use of freestyling, which is spontaneous, improvisational, off the top of the head rapping, for those that are not familiar, using that as a therapeutic resource and resilience building tool. And what we're really doing is tapping into the inherent, already innate therapeutic benefit and potential in freestyle. For those of us that grew up doing this, you always notice that you feel really good afterwards. So with some clinical knowledge and understanding, we started to get a little more peek under the hood and get some really deeper understanding on the how and why feels so good when you do it. So we try to really hone in on that part, flesh that out, amplify that, and use it to really create a therapeutic, a very dynamic therapeutic tool. Additionally, we've created some custom freestyle therapy exercises. And these are things that one might do in a therapy session, more traditional kind of talk therapy session, like establish and set goals, or create a gratitude list, identify things you're grateful for. But we do these in a freestyle Cypher. Cypher is the term usually used for like a group of people gathering and freestyling. So we use freestyle as the medium through which we're exploring and expressing these things.
Yes, sir. So we're going to jump into the first exercise, which is our inner critic round. So the idea of this exercise is basically that we're going to be having a conversation with our inner critic. Now, for those of you who are watching who are not clinicians, who are not mental health professionals, we just want to give you a little bit of background around and define what the inner critic is. So the inner critic is the self-critical voice in your head that basically tells you that you're not good enough, you can't do it, you're not worth it, you're not worthy, all those negative thoughts in your head that criticize you that's the inner critic. Now, on the deeper kind of level of the root of where that comes from, it's actually the internalized voice, the internalized critical voice of a parent or both your parents or primary caregiver. And essentially, it's something that you've internalized from either witnessing or absorbing, maybe them possibly saying something to you that was critical, or even to themselves, or a number of, combination of all of it. But essentially, you've internalized this self-critical voice, which is not even your own. It comes from your parents or caregivers. So that's kind of the idea behind what the inner critic is. And this exercise in this round is, again, a conversation with that part of yourself. So basically creating a space so that you can become aware of that voice in your head and not identified with it. So to disidentify from that voice in your head, create space so you can have a dialogue, if you will, a conversation with that piece of you, that voice in your head, and be able to say whatever it is that you want to say to that voice. That's the purpose of this exercise. And in doing so, you can be very empowered, right, in that process with that voice in your head. And there's many ways you can do this. So it's just whatever feels right to you about whatever you choose and want to say. And lastly, the other part of this is the idea of parts work, right? The idea that there's different parts of ourselves that get kind of broken off and fragmented, and the idea of healing maybe a child part of you and bringing that into an integration as a whole, and integrating these parts of yourself by having these kinds of conversations. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, this one can be an incredibly powerful therapeutic and really emotionally catalytic experience for sure. We really enjoy doing this one a lot. As a little quick note that's related to the inner critic and freestyling, this is just a really cool phenomenon that happened. There's an article called The Neuroanatomy of Freestyle Rap. And that article is just a synopsis of a study that was done where they took a number of professional, really, really dope MCs and hooked them up to fMRI machines and monitored their brain activity while they were freestyling. And it showed a lot of really cool stuff. One thing that really jumped out for us was that the part of the brain that's kind of responsible for the inner critic, where that inner critic seems to live, that started to go offline and really shut down as they got essentially into a flow state. So you can see what a powerful therapeutic tool freestyling can be. If you can use freestyling to quiet down that inner critic that's trying to hold you back, that's giving you self-doubt. And again, these were top-notch, very, very skilled MCs who are able to get into a flow state. And sometimes freestyling, especially for people who haven't done it, can actually be a little anxiety producing and maybe get the inner critic a little riled up. That being said, we've done a lot of trainings for mental health agencies and stuff, and we do these rounds with them. And most of the people that volunteer to participate are not MCs, they haven't spent their lives freestyling at all. And we've had reports from some of them that even really quickly they got into a flow state and they noticed their inner critic start to quiet down. So there is that potential there as well. So yeah, not directly what we're doing with this round, but just an interesting dynamic of how you can use freestyling to change the relationship to your inner critic.
Because we really used to think that you had to be really good at this to be able to like use it in a way that would like shut down the inner critic to get into a flow state. Mm-hmm. But we're having these direct reports from these adults in our trainings that really open our eyes. Like they had never done it before. The very first time they reported that their inner critic shut down. So it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, for sure. So Max and I, of course, are gonna be modeling this, and then we also have Deontay and Nelson who are gonna be participating in the round with us.
Yes, sir.
Both of these phenomenal young men work with our organization and are currently in training to be able to lead these workshops on their own. So we are excited to have them here. I guess I can get this one started today, and then. Nelson, you down to go after that?
Yeah, man, that's cool with me.
Okay. Awesome. And then Deontay, and then Max will close this one out.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to go ahead and just put a beat on here. Yo, come here, sit down, let's have a talk. Watch over progress, you're constantly trying to stop. I'm gonna get to the top of that mountain, even despite your doubting, because I see the fountain of joy that I can disperse. Oh yeah, you're trying to put me in a hearse, but I'll put you in this verse so that we can rehearse and get this dance down. You know, we're gonna do it now. Yeah, right in this moment. I'm gonna use this component, get it open, and start a dialogue so I can see through the fog that you try to blind me with. Oh yeah, I'm gonna remind this is my show. Yes, I'm the one in control. We are gonna keep it on the road despite your efforts to stop. Oh yeah, you know that's what you're gonna do? No, I think not. Off the top of these minds, I drop just so I can see through the blinds and the sunshine can come in and truly illuminate my room, because I'm tired of you trying to bring doom.
All right. Yeah.
Trying to see myself with a better vision, better questions, wondering like how I'm living, like what I'm giving, can't succeed. In my head, third eye, like I try to breathe, and I read good lines like septic, antiseptic, wipes, and I kept it. Gotta keep it so I sleep with all of my demons. Yeah, there's no secret. I'm feeling real great, can't hesitate. I'm dropping good bars, need to meditate. I'm feeling real great, feeling real great. Don't have an inner critic, there's no debate.
Yeah.
That was fire. All right. I mean, I guess I'll just I'll keep it moving. Yeah. I'll just jump in. Hey, critic saying something, and I'm not trying to really listen. I'm just jumping and down the street, listening to the sound of beats that helps me get clear on my thoughts. Yeah, because like the inner critic, that's like fear in a box. I'm breaking out of it. Yeah, I could really doubt there's a cloudedness. No, it's clarity. Yeah, I take your disparity and turn it into charity. I want to get it back. I want to spit this rap. Yeah, listen, Jack, we can just get with that. We can come together. We can be one forever. Integration. Yeah, disintegration of any separation. That's how we do it, man. There's no imitation. I'm not trying. It's all right. You can try to hold me back. I'll melt you like a polar cap, and then you'll come inside of me. That's how I do it. Yeah, no anxiety. I'm just coming through to just find a beat. I'm just trying to be me. Yeah, fly to higher places. It's all right though. I don't need to break your faces. I can just retrace this and recreate it in different shapes. Break out of the matrix that you put me in. Now we can escape it together. Yeah, we can make it better.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, as always, that was fun and felt hella good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that always feels like it does create some space and kind of helps for me to really shift my overall center of gravity, just feel a little more fully embodied.
Most def.
Yeah. Thank you, D, as well for your dope ass round. And unfortunately, it looks like we did lose Nelson. I think his signal might have dropped.
Really unfortunate. But maybe he'll jump back in for the gratitude for the next round.
Yeah. Which is, as Max just mentioned, the gratitude round. So this is definitely a core quintessential part of our FTC models. We always end every Cypher with a gratitude round, just to kind of end on that note and really create a focus of gratitude. We try to bring gratitude practice into a lot of our work, but we definitely use the gratitude round as a really powerful way of doing that. And with the elegance and the simplicity, it is just that. We're going to freestyle about what we're grateful for. At this point, gratitude's, I think, definitely become a pretty common topic within the popular imagination. I think a lot of people are aware of how powerful gratitude and the gratitude practice, really sustained, focused, intentional use of gratitude can be, which is great because it is phenomenally powerful. Tons of research at this point showing gratitude can benefit your mental, your physical, your spiritual health. Good for self-esteem, can help your sleep, can help reduce feelings of aggression and hostility, can increase empathy, on and on and on. It's just an incredibly powerful and very available resource. One quick little thing that we just think is so profound and cool. Another one of our staff artists who couldn't be here with us today, Jeremy Harris Heron, his artist name is Remedy, really amazing MC. But he, in one of these freestyle therapy ciphers that he was working with us on, came up with the idea of vitamin G, right? So calling gratitude vitamin G, and that's vitamin C for the soul. Mm-hmm. So as a metaphor, we just thought that's such a beautiful and profound view on gratitude and power. And it's definitely how we use it.
Super poetic and eloquent and straight to the point of how powerful this really is. So yeah, another thing that to me is pretty crazy is, I don't know if all of you out there are familiar with the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, but he's doing some really amazing work in general on all kinds of levels, but specifically around gratitude as well. And there's this one specific study that is really, really amazing and kind of groundbreaking. And it's how profound it is, in the sense that he took a group of people who were in these workshops he was doing, and they had them practice gratitude deliberately. They had a very deliberate gratitude practice for 15 minutes a day, 3 times a day. And then it was over the course of, I believe, either 2 or 3 weeks that they actually tracked their immune systems. And there was a controlled study done, and all of 100% of the participants, their immune system was boosted up to 50%. So that is just pretty mind-blowing, the fact that it can have that level of impact on your immune system with that level of sustained, deliberate practice over time, and just the level of how that can change your literal physiology. So definitely look into that. And that's just another kind of proof of how powerful this really is. Then you combine that with the rhythmic regulation that we've been kind of pointing to, as well as the whole idea of just speaking out loud and being able to speak your gratitude into the universe, and over the rhythm, which is regulating and allowing you to integrate and embody that in a more visceral sense. Just makes it even more powerful. And then one thing that I always like to say, because I think this is pretty amazing as well, is that gratitude is not just an emotion, it's a state of being. And in that state of being, there's no truly negative emotion can coexist in that same space. When you're truly feeling gratitude throughout, you're not thinking just about things you're grateful for, but feeling it through your whole body, your whole entire being, mind, body, and spirit, all that, in that vibration of gratitude, no true negative emotions. Like you can't feel worried, you can't feel truly depressed at the same time as feeling that level of gratitude. They just can't coexist. Mm-hmm. So you can always shift your focus to what you're grateful for in order to transmute those negative emotions. And obviously, like, life is hard. It's not all peaches and cream. It's not rainbows and puppy dogs all the time. You know, stuff is real, and we go through things. But no matter what we're going through, no matter what's going on, there's always something to be grateful for. And if we can shift our focus to that, then we can literally change that energy and that vibration. And so that's, you know, that's really powerful. And then one thing I just want to say too is that, because I know that earlier we didn't really go deep into the rhythmic regulation part. For those of you who are aware at home and know the work of Dr. Bruce Perry and other luminaries such as him around the idea of rhythm and regulating the brain and central nervous system. And that's the real foundation behind this workshop as a whole, because without that, you don't have the ability to tap into and access the higher parts of your brain and be present in the moment and move into a flow state, move out of your comfort zone and increase your stress tolerance. All those things require that rhythmic regulation. That's why this container of it is so powerful. And put gratitude in that context, it just amplifies it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in our workshops with youth, we do a lot of this psychoeducation before we get into gratitude. So they're given a real solid understanding of what's happening in the round and how powerful gratitude can be in general. And we also encourage them to not just use this in our workshops, but we're trying to give this to them as a tool that they can maybe have a fun and engaging way of doing a gratitude practice for the rest of their lives, where they can freestyle about it. So it's not meant to just stay contained in our workshop.
Sure.
But we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to switch up the order. So Max will get this one started. It looks like Nelson's not back, so we'll keep it moving. And Deontay, and then myself. Yeah, let's get the beat on.
Yeah, I'm just feeling great. All the food and every single plate. Yeah, for the soup and the ladle. Yeah, for the truth when I say truth. Hopefully the youth. My poetry is new. Yeah, it's like I planted seeds. Hopefully it grew. Yeah, that's right off the top of my noggin when I drop it. I'm grateful for all of it. I'm grateful for even when it feel the hollowness and the emptiness. I'm grateful for the envy in me. I can really see it. I can be like, yo, I just want to be it. I don't want to repeat it. Not the cycle. I want to break it. I'm grateful that I can really make it. Yeah, I'm grateful that I can walk into what I created. That gratitude vibration is really make it. There in my soul. There into the yo. That's how I have to do it. Like a parent that knows a little better maybe, but it's not really, doesn't really matter if it's a baby. Yeah, we all have that inner wisdom and I'm grateful for it. Yeah, you know, but really I'm grateful for more of it. I'm grateful that I'm not an orphan. It's something that I'm really grateful for. Yeah, I'm grateful for every single day before that opens up to me. I'm grateful for every single luxury, and I'm grateful for when I'm struggling and discrepancy because it helps me to get a little bit more bubbly. Yeah, so I can see the balance. I'm grateful for life as a challenge. Yeah, I'm grateful for life as a challenge.
All right, that was dope.
I feel like grateful to take been distasteful. These days I feel like my hands been full. I'm overflowing with the blessings. Got my homies guessing, trying to learn life lessons. But these days I'm unstressing, I'm undressing, and all these insecurities, learning these life lessons. I'm progressing. Yeah, I've been fooled to the strife because I had a good life and I'm satisfied, right? Yeah, I'm grateful for these great bars. I'm grateful for these great friends. I'm grateful for the try hard because I'm great these days. I'm grateful for my mental health, really thriving still on the real. I'm grateful for a job, grateful for a big plate, grateful for a good thing, grateful for a sweet day. Because I just made it, I made it, yes, it's dedication. So I'm grateful for my bitch, yeah, I really made it.
Okay. All right.
Fire.
Thank
Wow. I'm grateful for the spoon. Grateful for the moon. Grateful for the womb. Leaves this here life. Grateful for the mic, amplified voice. I'm grateful if I can sit back, have the voice. I'm grateful if I can find a way to be employed. I'm grateful for the voice I had as a child. I'm grateful for the skies and the way that the sun shines. I'm grateful for the skies. I'm grateful for one mind that combines in the heart. I'm grateful for the start. And I'm also grateful for the finish. I'm grateful for the way that we grow and then diminish, because that's the cycle. I'm grateful for all the systems that are vital for this recital. I'm grateful for the idol well as to put it in here. Grateful for my years. I'm grateful that I'm kind of weird. I'm grateful I was here when I crashed. I'm grateful I can laugh. I'm grateful that the last laugh was not what I had, but that's alright because the laughs, they will last. And that's all times that we find enjoyment. I'm grateful for the way that I can keep on climbing. I'm grateful for the fact that they do buoyant and deep whirling and swirling and doing this making the world go around. I'm grateful for the orbit. I'm grateful I can find a way through the various orbit. I'm grateful for my comportment. I'm grateful for the way we just get started. I'm grateful for the sparks and the art and the whole tapestry. I'm grateful for the way that we can do this here rapidly. Just tap into the gratitude, and I'm grateful that I can use that to shift my attitude. Woo! Yeah, that's how we do, sir. That's how we do. And yeah, I mean, just to check in with myself, I definitely feel like a warmth inside. I feel a spaciousness. I feel more mentally alert. I feel more alive, essentially. So yeah.
I feel way more alive, higher energy, lighter, more opened up, and more vibrant, more present in the moment. Yeah, my heart is open. Yeah, definitely. So hopefully y'all at home were paying attention to how you feel, and I want to check in with you yourself now, just even vicariously experiencing that. How do you feel? Yeah, do you want to say anything about how you feel, Deontay?
Sure.
I feel like, I don't know, I was stressed out coming to the meeting because, like, I don't know, I've just been busy, you know what I mean? Working hard, doing what I got to do.
Yeah.
And I feel less stressed for sure. I feel like I'm more present, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Appreciate you being here, man.
Yeah, I feel like I'm vibrating at a higher frequency now,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So definitely a fun and powerful series of exercises. Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the presentation for today. We did want to give, a shout out to our staff artists that were here today. Deontay is a phenomenal artist and rapper in his own right. Definitely recommend checking out his projects. Deontay the Alien is his rap name. Definitely find that on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Just recently put out a really amazing project on detailing mental health and things of that nature. D, you wanna anything you want to say about it?
The project specifically about my experience with bipolar and how I feel about it now over the course of 2020. So it starts sad, but it details depression and mania and then acceptance, which is cool. So yeah, that's it.
It's pretty powerful. He's really bearing his soul on this project, and please go check it out. Go support, because it's definitely what this very needed in hip hop. You know what I mean? To be that transparent about mental health challenges like that, and being able to use this as a tool to process them. It's amazing. Hip hop therapy for real.
Definitely.
So,
and Nelson,
I was about to say,
Nelson is also an incredibly talented musician and rapper.
Yeah.
I would check out his SoundCloud. I always forget how to.
So he goes by Ambu Inc. So it's AM and then BEAU.
Right.
So it's like beautiful. That's kind of how I think about it.
Right.
AMBEAU Inc.
.inc.
Yes.
At SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. Check him out. He also has a really amazing song that he did in the program that he went through of ours before we hired him as a staff artist. It's called Success Through Failure. And that's on his SoundCloud, I believe. And it's also on our website, which is rhythmicmind.net, www.rhythmicmind.net. And on the gallery page, you can check out that song as well. Really, really powerful song.
Yeah.
Along those lines, definitely, if this whet your beak a little bit and you're interested and want to learn more about the work that we do and check out our organization, definitely check out that website, rhythmicmind.net. And also subscribe to our newsletter on the homepage. It's really easy to do that. And we put out a lot of value in these newsletters, really highlighting the intersections between hip hop and mental health and wellness and well-being in really cool and interesting and innovative ways. So a lot of value you get from that. And it really helps us to further expand our impact And also follow us on Instagram at Rhythmic Mind 1. That's Rhythmic Mind, numerical 1. And same thing, kind of a microcosm of that same kind of content of highlighting those intersections in really cool ways. So a lot of value. And again, really, really helps us to like, you know, get grants and expand our impact and really spread this work as far as wide as possible. So please do follow us on there. And yeah, in the spirit of hip hop, the shout out, which is something that's very, very deep in hip hop culture, really paying homage to those who came before us, those who are in the circles with us, and you know, both in the songs and on the album, the liner notes, all that. Definitely want to shout out Trauma Research Foundation for having us here. Been an honor. And also Dr. Elliot Gann, Today's Future Sound, Dr. Raphael Travis, who's the author of The Healing Power of Hip Hop and the director of the School of Social Work at Texas State University, Aaron Rodwin, also, who's co-authored one of the chapters in The Healing Power of Hip Hop, which is one of the seminal texts in this space, as well as some other really groundbreaking journal articles with Dr. Elliot Gann and Dr. Raphael Travis, J.C. Hall, and you know, his amazing hip hop therapy studio program out in Mott Haven, which is a school in the Bronx, and there's an award-winning documentary and now another one coming out called Mott Haven on that. Jackie Johnson with the I always forget the name of
Sankofa Healing Studio in Philadelphia.
She's amazing, incredible work. Brittany Williams in San Diego, also doing amazing work. Check her out on Instagram. And yeah, so you know, just want to really pay homage to all those folks.
Shout out to Dr. Edgar Tyson, pretty much the founder of hip hop therapy, who first kind of coined the term and started these practices. So rest in peace and shout out to Dr.
Yes,
Tyson.
sir. And then next week you'll be if you come back for the next workshop in the series, it's called Love Yours, and that will be Dr. Raphael Travis and Aaron Rodwin, and they'll be doing some really cool stuff based on Dr. Raphael Travis's Mizzou's model and kind of lyrical analysis, breaking down the lyrics and songs to see the different ways that they can be utilized in a therapeutic context. And it's going to be really, really amazing. So
yeah, we're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, for real.
All right. Thanks again. Take care.
Thanks a lot.